So in today's video, we're going to take a look at the new Pro 2 Bluetooth controller by 8Bitdo. So it's going to work on Mac, Windows, Switch, Android, Raspberry Pi, and of course Steam. I've got the G Classic Edition here. There's also a Black Edition and Gray Edition. And this one's currently $50 on Amazon, but I'll leave a link in the description below with current pricing and more information. So let's go ahead and open it up and see what we've got. Okay, so size-wise, this actually feels pretty good in the hands. This is probably closest to the PS4 controller as far as size and shape. And weight is pretty similar as well. And then the sticks feel pretty much identical to the PS4 controller. Get your left and right shoulder buttons, and then your L2 and R2 trigger buttons. You've also got your pairing button and your charging port right there in the center. You've got your different modes there in the back towards the bottom. You can use it through Bluetooth or wired. So you've got a 1000 milliamp hour rechargeable battery pack in here. That should give you about 20 hours of playtime. And then it takes about 4 hours to charge. And then when the battery dies, you can either plug it in to recharge it, or you can just put AA batteries in. Of course, in the middle, you've got your select and start buttons. You've also got a star and home button there to the left and right of the sticks. And you've got your LED indicator lights there on the bottom. Here it is next to the new Xbox Series S or X controller. Definitely a little bit lighter than that one. And then of course it's going to be way different than the PS5 controller. And then definitely a wider stance than the official Switch Pro controller. My first thought is I definitely like this a little bit wider than the official Pro controller for the Switch. Your X, Y, A, B buttons actually feel really nice and clicky. I think they feel better than the Switch Pro controller, not quite as spongy. Now one really cool feature with this controller, once you download the 8Bitdo Ultimate software, you can actually go in and customize pretty much everything about this controller. You have your 3 different profile settings here. Plus you can map every single button on the controller plus the sticks. Considering the Switch buttons are always different than, say, if you're playing on Steam, that's a really good idea. Not only that, you can change the sensitivity of each left and right stick. You can also invert X and Y, swap sticks, swap the D-pad and left stick. Sensitivity of the left and right trigger can also be adjusted. You can also swap the triggers. I'm not sure why you would want to do that, but hey, it's there if you need to. You can even control how much vibration there is on the left and right side. Weird thing is the left side seems to vibrate a lot more than the right side. Watch this. And then you've also got macros. And then you've also got settings, although there's not much to change in there besides language. And then if you hit switch mode up in the corner, it's going to show you which letter to use depending on which device you're connecting to. So yeah, this is definitely a pretty sweet app. Definitely one of the best features of this controller. So it's pretty simple to connect to devices. You put the controller in D for Android, S for Switch, and X for Windows. Same settings if you're going to use it in wired mode. Then you just hold down the pairing button on the top, similar to an Xbox controller, until it pops up to connect, pretty much like any other Bluetooth controller. When testing this controller for Steam, it actually played really good, especially for retro games, but for games like Rocket League or some more modern games, I would still use an Xbox One or Xbox Series controller. It could be that I'm just more used to Xbox controllers, but if you're a big fan of the PS4 controller, this does actually feel more comfortable to use than the PS4 controller in my opinion, and you may just want to pick this one up. Something that did happen to me when I was testing is I accidentally changed one of the buttons to turbo and I had no idea what was going on. But it's pretty simple. You just hold the button down that you want to set for turbo functionality, and then you press the star button to activate it. And then all you do is hold down the button again and then press star to deactivate it. I had no idea, but somehow I got it stuck on one of those buttons and I was like, what is wrong with this controller? But no, I just had it in turbo mode. I also tested this out on a few games on the Switch, and yeah, this thing is pretty sweet. I think if you're looking for a Pro controller, I would definitely buy this over the official Pro controller from Nintendo. Since it's a little bit wider, I feel it just fits my hand better and is more comfortable. One downside is you can't power off the Switch using this controller. Not really a big deal, but just thought I would mention that. There also didn't seem to be any lag while playing, drifting issues, or button sticking, which, believe it or not, I've had that happen with brand new Xbox controllers from time to time. Now, is this better than Xbox Series or Xbox One controllers? No, I don't think so. But it's probably one of the best Pro controllers you can get for the Nintendo Switch. By the way, if you guys haven't played the new Streets of Rage 4 or Retromania Wrestling, these are some pretty sweet new games inspired by retro games. Both are definitely worth buying. And they're not real expensive, they're like 25, 30 bucks each. Now I sort of have mixed feelings when it comes to using this controller on mobile games. I couldn't get it to work on Call of Duty Mobile, but it worked great for Asphalt 9, and it actually works really good for some retro games I tested out. So if you're a big Call of Duty Mobile fan, it looks like you're gonna need to stick with an Xbox controller for now, but for other games, this controller works great. Although it is gonna be hit or miss on which games it's gonna work with. I think for the price of 50 bucks, the ability to use this on multiple platforms, plus they already have a phone clip and carrying case that you can buy. Not to mention the app that lets you customize it pretty much as you like. This thing is definitely worth the price in my opinion, and is really the only Pro controller you need for the Nintendo Switch. And it's a must-have controller for any retro gamer. So if you've made it this far into the video, you may want to say thanks by subscribing, and don't forget to give a thumbs up if this video was helpful. This is Brian from 8Bitdo Productions. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.